Fleet Mobility Today, or FMT, is all about driving insights and connecting the Americas. A leading voice in corporate fleet and mobility insights in the region. With dedicated coverage in both North and South America, the FMT network focuses on the main markets of the United States, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Chile, and, well, many more. FMT provides corporate fleet managers and transportation experts with the latest developments through news articles, informative video podcasts, educational courses, and corporate events. A communication platform that connects with a diverse audience by producing content in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Your premier source for fleet and mobility intelligence in the Americas. FleetMobilityToday.com.
Hello, fellow fleet and mobility players. Today we welcome Ivan Frota Pacheco, an experienced leader in procurement and supply chain who is now taking the lead of the Fleet and Mobility Managers Club, FMMC, in Brazil. Let's explore his journey, the changing landscape of mobility in Brazil, and how his strategic vision can drive a more efficient, innovative, and connected future for our community. Hello, Ivan.
How's everything going over there? Hi, Daniel. How are you? Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, Daniel, thank you once again for the invitation, for letting me be a part of this, for taking on this role of driving the FMMC here in Brazil. I think it'll be a really important milestone to connect fleet managers and professionals in the industry. So I see it as a big challenge, but we're also going to have some fun, so it'll be a very interesting journey. Above all, we're going to have some fun ahead.
So tell us a little about what you're doing now, a bit about your experience.
Great, Daniel. Well, today I lead as the Regional Director of Indirect Procurement, the EssilorLuxottica Group, which is basically a French-Italian company that owns well-known brands like Ray Ban, Oakley, Verilux, and many others now. People are really excited about the Ray Ban Meta smart glasses, Oakley, Meta. So those are some of our main brands. And of course, it couldn't be any different. With a regional position, we face the challenge of fleet management as one of the most important categories within my portfolio, and for my team as well, across all countries. Mainly in Brazil and Mexico, we have in the whole region almost 800 vehicles, according to the latest numbers, and a good portion of them were cars used as work tools for the sales team and the field technical team. But of course, we also have a significant number of vehicles dedicated to benefits, that is, for senior leadership and executives. It's also part of the company's compensation package to attract this talent.
In your career, your background is more than a decade in procurement, right? Sourcing and leadership in supply chain, what experiences or decisive moments have most influenced the way you manage complex categories?
Daniel, I can say that I've been pretty lucky. In many situations, I've gone through major merger and acquisition processes. And more recently with the merger, this Luxottica group here has already been consolidated for some time now. But with each passing year, we're able to explore new things. It was a huge challenge, especially since in the middle of all this, we faced a very delicate moment, which was the COVID pandemic. So we had to survive at the very beginning of the merger between the two companies, very different companies, one French, one Italian. And so in that sense, I can say that looking at the fleet category was extremely challenging because we went from a very chaotic scenario where either there were no fleet policies at all or the policies were completely conflicting between Essilor and Luxottica. In the same country, there were different policies. The vehicle lineup was totally chaotic. There was no standardization of vehicle models. I was working with suppliers, and managing the fleet with multiple suppliers adds a layer of complexity. In short, it was a very chaotic scenario that used to be fragmented, with low governance and little visibility of KPIs and indicators. So that was when we took the opportunity to get things organized.
Mergers are a lot of work. Sometimes it also takes a really long time to get it done, a year, sometimes more than a year. And speaking more about Brazil, The fleet sector is going through a rapid transformation, like electrification. What are the biggest challenges today? And what are the most promising opportunities right now for fleet and mobility stories?
Daniel, as a procurement professional, throughout my career, I'd say I've really broadened my focus. And I think everyone at the forefront of my field has done the same, which is shifting from a 100% focus on price and cost to focusing on value. I believe that today we are value creators for the company. So it's much more than just bringing in and negotiating a price. It's about making sure that the company's business relationships with its suppliers can, of course, bring competitive costs. Many times, maybe I'll have to pay a little more to get a bigger return down the road, but competitive costs, risk mitigation, making sure your entire supply chain is well mapped out, that the risks are known. Of course, some risks you can mitigate, others you can only reduce their impact because they're going to happen regardless of your intentions or actions. Bringing innovation is often difficult for a company, especially when it comes to investing in multiple areas of research and development. So why not bring suppliers in as part of this innovation challenge? So I really believe in the role of procurement, and above all, I believe that the fleet manager needs to shift their focus a bit, not just looking at their own interests or their own world, but connecting with the company as a whole. How can I connect with the end goal, with my company's ultimate objective? After all, it's about selling. It's meeting a customer's need, serving the end customer. Of course, who is the end customer? That will depend. Each company will have a different end customer, but the fleet manager needs to understand their role in this.
In what specific ways has this unique experience influenced the professional way you plan to support all the FMMC members?
Within a logic of strategic management of purchasing, of supplies, of procurement, of course, we need to know very well which battles to fight. But in the end, it's about being able to understand what the real priorities of the area are and how your suppliers can help you achieve your goals. So it all comes down to adopting the right strategy for different purchasing categories, for different types of contracts. Bringing this now to fleet management. It's extremely complex to deal with multiple suppliers and fleet management. I'll have 3 or 4 rental companies, 3 or 4 companies handling the fuel side, and a ton of suppliers taking care of maintenance. I'm a big believer in focusing on long-term strategic partnerships where you can actually deliver value through your suppliers in these contracts. The first hiccup. By hiccup, I mean a commercial tension when the market is stressed, costs are being passed on. That's when you'll see who your solid and reliable partners really are. So the fleet manager has to ensure the highest possible reliability within the costs the company can keep up with over time, but also stay connected with the internal client. So I think that in this exchange with colleagues here in Brazil, my role is this. It's to make sure they can actually speak the language of the different stakeholders. When it's time to pitch a project to the finance department, it's about understanding how that project will financially impact the company. Will it bring better working capital, like you mentioned? Will it improve the company's cash flow? Will it generate savings? When I talk to the end users, I'm going to bring them more comfort. When I talk to HR, I'm going to ensure a fleet policy that's aligned with the company. When I talk to the health, safety, and environment department, I'm going to bring more safety for the drivers. I'm going to help contribute to the reduction of the company's carbon emissions. So it's about understanding how to sell the department, the projects, and your deliverables to the different internal audiences within the company. I think that procurement professionals, by definition, have this cross-functional role. Why not? Make it so that the fleet manager has it too. Instead of reporting to an operations director, a finance director, or a facilities director, why not take on an increasingly leading role?
You know that we work throughout the Americas. I have a team in North America speaking English there, and for Latin America, based in Mexico, Spanish. What's your vision for strengthening collaboration here in Brazil? Together with other countries,
Daniel, I really like to use some famous quotes to illustrate certain situations. So one of the writers I really like is Ernest Hemingway, and he has a quote about World War II. It's from one of his books about a soldier talking to another. And in the end, does it matter who's by your side in the trash? Yes, it matters a lot. It matters more than the battle itself, more than the war itself. So I really believe in the power of networking, of professional connections, in exchanging experiences, sharing what we've learned, learning from others' mistakes. And I think the environment you're creating, bringing this FMMC meeting to Brazil, is the perfect moment for that. It's the ideal space for it. Market professionals with a solid reputation, but always open to newcomers, can have these exchanges and bring in best practices. So staying tuned into the market and open to hearing how other companies are working. Not just looking inside your own company, because that's one of the worst kinds of short-sightedness there is.
Talking about Ernest Hemingway, I was just talking to you earlier about Kennedy and several other people. And we don't have much more time. There's one more question, Ivan. Look into the future. What skills or mindset do you believe fleet and mobility leaders in Brazil will need to develop to stay competitive? The world is competitive.
Daniel, I truly believe that everyone in the company, in today's organizations, needs to take a hard look at themselves and really understand what within them is essential. It can't be replaced by AI, outsourced to countries with cheaper labor, or simply eliminated. So I think that for a fleet manager, they'll have to let go of certain types of control, some purely operational things that add very little value. The cost of controlling can't be higher than the benefit of controlling. So I also think this involves a shift in the main mission and acting more and more as a mobility consultant. Am I only going to look at cars at the corporate fleet? No, I'm going to look at the mobility solution. Why not bring that into fleet management as well? The corporate mobility category, like Uber, taxis, and other options, even expanding to business travel, bringing an end-to-end solution as a mobility category. So obviously, this involves governance, compliance, knowing technology, and stepping away a bit from being 100% a fleet specialist, like knowing every car brand by heart and all the details. Of course, that's important, but it doesn't have to be the main focus of your role. Be more of a generalist who can connect different disciplines and make sure all of them are present in managing this team. A mobility team. I like to see myself as a mobility manager, much more than just a fleet manager.
Yes, just like you said, looking at things from a broader perspective, maybe thinking more long-term. It's not always about the short term, you have to think long-term too. So I'll wrap up here, Ivan. Just wanted to thank you for your time today. And you're also watching FMT Insider. The road ahead is full of opportunities. We'll see you again soon, okay? See you next time.